My marriage seemed perfect, until my pregnancy revealed the true character of the man I married. 7 months pregnant, I was going up and down 3 flights of stairs carrying heavy grocery bags, while my husband stayed on the couch playing video games. When I finally finished, exhausted and sweating, he looked at me and said, "You're getting disgusting. If you don't lose this weight after the baby, I'll find someone else." 3 days later, he was desperate, calling me nonstop, begging. I'm literally sitting in a hotel room right now, 7 months pregnant, trying to process what happened today. Am I overreacting? Am I in shock? I don't know, but I need to vent somewhere. It's going to be a long text, sorry. To give some context, Alan and I have been together for 5 years, married for 3. We met at a community theater, where I worked on costumes, and he was the lead actor. He was this super charismatic musician who seemed passionate about everything. I fell head over heels in love. Things started to change. When I got pregnant, it wasn't planned, but after the initial shock, I got excited. Alan, not so much. He said all the right things, but actions speak louder than words. And his actions were spending more time gaming with his friends and less time helping around the house. I convinced myself that he was just processing this big change in his own way. Men are like that, right? Plus, this pregnancy has been tough. Constant nausea for 3 months, anemia, and now my back hurts. It feels like someone is twisting my back in half most days, which brings me to what happened today. I had just gotten off work and stopped by the grocery store on my way home. We live in a 3rd-floor apartment with no elevator, and my car was full of groceries. When I got home, Alan was sprawled on the couch playing Call of Duty with his headphones on, surrounded by empty energy drink cans. I asked if he could help me bring up the groceries. He simply ignored me and said he was in the middle of something important. So there I was, 7 months pregnant, going up and down 3 flights of stairs with heavy grocery bags. On the 6th trip, I was drenched in sweat. My back was screaming in pain, and I could feel my ankles swelling inside my shoes. When I finally put the last bags on the floor, I collapsed into a kitchen chair, trying to catch my breath. That's when Alan looked at me from the couch and said, without exaggeration, "Jesus, you're getting disgusting to look at. You better lose that weight fast after the baby, or I'll find someone who actually takes care of herself." I literally couldn't process what he had just said. Then I heard laughter coming from his headset. His gaming buddies heard. He wanted them to hear. Instead of crying or yelling, like he probably expected, I walked over, smiled, kissed his forehead, and said I needed to take a shower. The confused look on his face would have been funny if I wasn't dying inside in the shower, with the water muffling any sound. I finally let the tears flow, but they weren't just tears of sadness. They were tears of anger, of clarity. Suddenly, I saw all the red flags I had ignored for 5 years with perfect clarity. This wasn't new behavior. It was just the most blatant example so far. This was his true essence, and I was about to bring a child into this environment. A child who would learn that relationships are like this. A child who would learn to treat others this way or accept being treated this way. No. I got out of the shower, put on my most comfortable maternity dress, and told Alan I needed air and time to think. He barely looked up from his game. I grabbed my hospital bag, already packed because I'm organized, my laptop, my important documents, and left. Now I'm in a hotel about 20 minutes away. I called my sister Anne, who lives an hour away, and she's coming tomorrow to help me figure things out. Alan called twice and sent a text, asking where the leftovers were in the fridge. Not where I was, but where the leftovers were. I need to leave him. I need to protect myself and my baby, but I'm terrified. I'm 7 months pregnant. Our lease is in both our names. Our finances are a bit mixed, though I've always kept a separate account where my paycheck goes. Thank God for that. I was counting on a partner to help with baby care and expenses, but I can't stop thinking about that moment in the kitchen. The casual cruelty, the way he said it, like he was commenting on the weather, the fact that he wanted his friends to hear. I should have left years ago. I deserve better. My baby deserves better. I don't know exactly what my next steps will be, but I know I'm not going back to that apartment today. Maybe never. Many people are asking if this was the first time he said something like this. No, it wasn't. There have been jokes about my changing body during pregnancy, comments about how I used to be so hot, and questions about my plan to get back in shape. but they were always disguised as concern or wrapped in enough humor that I could convince myself he didn't mean it that way. Today was just... the mask fell off. For those suggesting I should have communicated better or tried to work things out, we've had many conversations about dividing chores, especially since I got pregnant. His promises to improve last about 48 hours. I suggested couples therapy 3 times. His promises to improve last about 48 hours. I suggested couples therapy 3 times. He's always too busy. Today wasn't an isolated bad day. It was the day I finally saw clearly. Update. It's 2 a.m. and I can't sleep. Alan finally realized I wasn't coming home tonight and has been calling me nonstop. First with confusion. Where are you? Then with irritation. You're being dramatic. Then guilt attempts. I was just joking. You know how guys are. The last message was a threat about how I better not be spending our money on a hotel. Our money. The same money that comes 90% from my paycheck, while he invests in his music career and gaming setup. I've decided I'm going to meet with a lawyer before going back to that apartment. I've silenced his notifications and am trying to rest for the sake of my baby. My sister will be here in the morning. The baby is kicking like crazy now. I put my hand on my belly and whispered, "I've got you. We're going to be okay." And, for the first time today, I really believed it. First update. It's been about 4 weeks since my last post, and I need to update because things have gotten really intense. Thank you to everyone who commented with support. Your messages kept me strong when I wanted to give up. After that night when Alan called me disgusting for gaining weight during pregnancy, my sister Anne came over, and we talked about my options. We decided I needed to go back to the apartment temporarily while I got my things in order. Many of you warned me not to let Alan know I was planning to leave until I was ready, and, damn, you were so right. When I got back home, Alan acted like nothing had happened. When I brought up his comment, he rolled his eyes and said I was being too sensitive, that it was just a joke. Then he tried to turn it around, saying I've been too hormonal lately and that he's walking on eggshells. He actually said, "You know how hard this pregnancy has been on me?" For him? I almost lost my temper, but I remembered my plan. So I took a deep breath, apologized for overreacting, and said I was just tired and hormonal. The relief on his face was immediate. He thought he had won, that I was back in my place and that everything could go back to normal. Little did he know, I was already consulting a divorce lawyer. The last month has been one of the most challenging of my life. I've been living a double life. On the outside, playing the role of the pregnant, remorseful wife, while, on the inside, systematically preparing to leave. Here's what I've done so far. I've been keeping a detailed journal of Alan's behavior, including dates, times, and exactly what he says. I've also recorded some of our conversations on my phone, especially when he was particularly cruel. My lawyer said this could help with the divorce. I've always kept my paycheck in a personal account, thank God. But now I've changed my direct deposit to a new account at a different bank. I've been transferring money from our joint account to my private account in small amounts that wouldn't raise suspicion. Basically, reclaiming what I've contributed over the years. While reviewing our financial records, I discovered something that made me sick. Alan has a credit card in my name that I didn't know existed. He racked up over $25,000 in debt for his gaming PC and other things. I reported the fraud to the credit card company and provided proof that it wasn't me. I've gathered all important documents: birth certificate, marriage certificate, bank statements, tax returns. Everything is now in a safe place outside the apartment. My sister helped me find a small 2-bedroom apartment on the ground floor, with laundry and in a secure building. I signed the lease last week. It's not luxurious, but it's clean, safe, and mine. I've been packing little by little, taking my most important things and bringing them to my sister's house when Alan is out. Nothing obvious enough for him to notice, but the things that matter most to me. I also bought a temporary phone that Alan doesn't know exists. My regular phone stays with me and works normally, but I have a backup he can't track. Living this double life has been exhausting, especially at 8 months pregnant. My ankles are constantly swollen. My back hurts all the time, and the baby seems to be practicing parkour on my bladder and ribs simultaneously. But every step I take toward freedom gives me strength. The hardest part has been pretending everything is normal, cooking for him, laughing at his jokes, listening to him complain about his bandmates, watching him play video games for hours while I take care of everything. Even sleeping next to him makes my skin crawl. Now that I've stopped lying to myself about who he really is, he's gotten worse too. Now that he thinks I've accepted his behavior, The mask has fallen even more. Last week, he invited his friends over for a game night without telling me until they were at the door. I had just gotten home from work and was lying down because my back was hurting. He came into the bedroom and said I should make myself useful and order pizza for them. When I said I was in pain, he sighed dramatically and said, "Pregnancy isn't a disability. Women have been doing this for centuries, and my mom worked up until the day before she gave birth." Lieutenant. I checked with his mom in a casual call, and she had complications that forced her to bed rest in the last month. The guys were in the living room hearing everything. I saw one of them looking uncomfortable, but no one said anything. I ended up ordering the pizzas from bed and paying with my own money. When they arrived, Alan yelled for me to answer the door because they were in the middle of a game. I had to get up, walk past everyone in my pajamas, pay the delivery guy, and set up plates and napkins while they ignored me. After they left around 2 a.m., leaving beer cans and pizza boxes everywhere, Alan came to bed and tried to initiate sex. When I said I was exhausted, he replied, "Oh, come on. You don't even have to do anything. Just lie there like always." I went to the bathroom and cried silently, reminding myself that I only needed to hold on a little longer. My plan is to move out next weekend, when Alan goes to his parents' house for his dad's birthday. He'll be gone overnight, giving me 24 hours to execute everything with the help of my sister, 2 close friends, and, surprisingly, Alan's younger brother Rory, who witnessed one of his outbursts last month and secretly offered to help. My lawyer has prepared all the divorce papers. I'll freeze our joint account, take what's rightfully mine, leave the papers with a detailed note explaining exactly why I'm leaving, and disappear before he gets back. I'm not going to lie. I'm terrified. I wake up in the middle of the night with my heart racing, wondering if I can really do this. But then I feel my daughter kick, and I know I have to. I refuse to raise her in a home where her mother is disrespected daily. I refuse to let her think that this is what love looks like. In a strange way, I'm grateful for that horrible moment with the groceries. Without that mask completely falling off, I might have kept making excuses for his behavior for years. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had known the real Alan from the start, instead of the charming theater guy who swept me off my feet. The red flags were always there. I just didn't want to see them because I was too busy being in love. My doctor says my blood pressure is high, probably from the stress, so I need to take care of myself. This last month, the irony hasn't escaped me. Planning to leave Alan is stressful in the short term, but absolutely necessary for my long-term health and well-being. For those who suggested therapy. In my last post, I started seeing someone virtually who specializes in relationship trauma and pregnancy. It's been incredibly helpful to have validation that I'm not overreacting or being hormonal. This is real emotional abuse, and I deserve better. I'll update again after everything happens next weekend. Wish me luck, because I'll need it. Final update. It's been about 10 months since my first post, and so much has changed that I wanted to give one last update to everyone. First, and most importantly, my daughter, Lily, is now 6 months old, healthy, happy, and absolutely the light of my life. She has my eyes, Alan's nose, unfortunately, and a personality that's all her own. She started sitting up on her own last week and is obsessed with a stuffed animal my sister gave her. Her favorite thing is when I sing to her while dancing in the kitchen, which I do often because her laugh is the best sound in the universe. The birth was intense. I went into labor 3 weeks early, just 5 days after moving into the new apartment. My sister Anne was my birth partner, and she was amazing. After 19 hours of labor, including 3 hours of pushing, Lily was born at 6:22 a.m., screaming like crazy. The moment they placed her on my chest, I knew every hard decision I made was worth it. I didn't inform Alan that I was in labor. My lawyer advised that I wasn't obligated to, and, given his erratic behavior after I left, I was worried about adding stress to an already stressful situation. I notified him of Lily's birth the next day by email, with a formal photo of her, without me in it, and basic information about her health and birth stats. His response was a mess of anger for not being told, followed by demands to see his daughter immediately, and accusations that I was using her as a pawn. My lawyer handled all communication, explaining that, given his recent behavior, we would establish a formal visitation schedule through the court. Now, here's something I didn't share before, possibly the most satisfying moment of this whole saga. Remember when, during the pregnancy, Alan told me I was getting disgusting to look at and needed to lose weight fast after the baby? Well, when Lily was about 3 months old and I was starting to feel like myself again, I did something epic. During the divorce process, we discovered that Alan was hiding money in a separate account. My lawyer fought hard, and I received a significant portion of those funds, as they were technically marital assets. Instead of putting it all into savings like a responsible adult, I decided Lily and I deserved a break. I booked a 5-day trip to a beachfront resort in Florida. My sister came along to help with Lily, and, for the first time in a long time, I truly relaxed. On the 3rd day, I was sitting by the pool while Lily slept in the stroller under an umbrella. I was wearing my first bikini since before the pregnancy. My body was different. Stretch marks, a C-section scar, softer in some places, but I felt proud of what it had accomplished. I asked Anne to take a photo of me in the bikini, looking out at the ocean. I looked happy, confident, and, yes, a bit slimmer than I was during pregnancy. I sent that photo directly to Alan with just one caption: "Already losing the weight. Don't worry." Then I blocked him again before he could respond. Satisfaction? You have no idea. That moment of reclaiming my body, my confidence, and, yes, some of the money he hid, was the final piece in freeing myself from his control. I never knew what his reaction was, but, according to Rory, Alan was furious when he received the photo. The divorce process continued to be as difficult as I expected. Alan contested everything he could, initially demanding full custody, despite showing no interest in baby preparations during the pregnancy. He also demanded all the furniture from the apartment, even though I left the furniture when I moved out, and even my car, which I had before I met him. His tone changed drastically when my lawyer presented evidence of financial fraud and verbal abuse. Suddenly, he was willing to negotiate. We finally reached a settlement 3 months ago. I have primary physical custody of Lily. Alan has supervised visits for 4 hours every 2 weeks. Child support was set based on his actual income, which we discovered was higher than he claimed. He kept his belongings, I kept mine, and we split minimal joint assets. He's responsible for the fraudulent credit card debt. Is it a perfect outcome? No, but it's one I can live with, and that provides stability for Lily. Alan has seen Lily exactly twice since she was born. On the first visit, when she was 8 weeks old, he showed up 40 minutes late and spent most of the time complaining about the supervised visitation requirement and taking photos to post on Instagram with captions about being a dedicated dad. The second visit was at 4 months, when he seemed uncomfortable with her crying and left early. He's canceled the last 3 scheduled visits with increasingly weak excuses. Part of me feels sad for Lily, but mostly, I'm relieved. Every interaction with him is emotionally draining, and his inconsistency would only confuse her as she grows. I've documented every canceled visit, as recommended by my lawyer. As for me, physically, my body has recovered from childbirth, though it's different from before. I have stretch marks, a C-section scar, and I'm about 15 pounds over my pre-pregnancy weight. And you know what? I'm completely at peace with that. Financially, I'm stable. I'm not rich, but the child support helps, and I've gotten much better at budgeting now that I'm not subsidizing Alan's music career. I've even started a small savings account for Lily's future. As for Alan, the last I heard through mutual friends, he's telling everyone that I had postpartum psychosis and stole his daughter and his money. He conveniently leaves out the part where he committed financial fraud and verbally abused his pregnant wife. His Instagram is full of posts about fighting for his rights as a father, despite continuing to cancel visits. Classic. Sometimes I think about that day with the groceries. How, at the time, it seemed like the worst moment of my life. But, in reality, it was the moment that saved me. Many people have asked for photos of Lily, but, for privacy reasons, I can't share. Just imagine the cutest baby in the world, with chubby cheeks and a smile that could end wars. That's my girl. I just got a message from an unknown number. It was Alan's mom, asking about Lily and if she could visit her someday. Unlike Alan, she's respected my boundaries and seems to genuinely care about her granddaughter. I'm considering allowing supervised visits with her, separate from Alan's time. Lily deserves to know family members who will love her consistently and respectfully.